Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Marize, and welcome back to our channel.
We are Filipino IMGs.
And in this video, we will tell you about how we decided between working in the UK via the PLAB route and Australia via the AMC Pathway. We know it can be quite confusing as an IMG whether to apply for the UK or Australia, because back then we were also undecided, and initially we were already on the UK route and then we suddenly shifted to Australia.
Both have their own strong points and a lot of personal factors came into play with our decision. So in this video, we will talk about our journey and how we eventually decided to choose Australia over UK. So hopefully for those who are still deciding, we can help you make your own decision.
First, we will tell you a little bit about our career background. So we graduated Doctor of Medicine last 2019 from the University of Santo Tomas, and then we completed 1 year of internship here. And on November of 2020, we took our licensure exam here in the Philippines. And then at that time, we were already set straight on going to the UK via the PLAB route. So for the month of December, we studied for the OET. So if you know, in the PLAB route, you would need a past English test first before you can book your PLAB 1. And then we took our OET in the first week of January of 2021, and then the results came out 3 weeks after. And by that time, we already got our general registration here in the Philippines. And since then, we had been practicing full-time here in our home country.
You guys may be wondering why we initially chose UK over Australia. So first reason is that a lot of our friends are already on the same route. There is a larger Filipino community in UK compared with Australia. Second, the exams are relatively cheaper. The PLAB 1 costs around 15,000 Philippine pesos, while the PLAB 2 costs around 60,000 Philippine pesos during our time. Third, the exams are relatively easier compared with the AMC clinicals and the multiple choice questions. And lastly, you can travel around the European countries easier when you are working in the UK.
So a little bit of overview for the UK route, as I mentioned, is that you need a past English exam first before you can book for the PLAB 1. So I mentioned that we took it early of January 2021, and then the results took 3 weeks to come out. And by the time that it did, the seats were almost completely booked for the whole year. So during the peak of the pandemic at that time, it was really competitive in booking seats for the UK, and they would roll out seats for the whole year. So that time, the only seats left for us was actually in November of 2021 in Australia, which was so farther away, and there were no other seats that were available for us.
As you were aware, the pandemic during that time was still relatively new. So the borders in Australia were still closed. So we just decided to work as full-time physicians while studying for the PLAB 1. However, 3 months before our scheduled PLAB exam, there were no news regarding when will Australia open its borders. So that's when we decided to just push through with our AMC exam.
We had a lot of doubts about going into the AMC pathway that honestly at first we didn't even consider it. First, because the exams are expensive. For the AMC MCQ, the exam costs around 100,000 pesos here in the Philippines, while for AMC2, the exam costs around 150,000 pesos. And even the review for the clinicals is around 200,000 pesos. So that is a lot of money to shell out for exams. Second is that the exams are relatively harder than the UK. So for the AMC, they say that the passing rate for the MCQ exam is around 50%, while the passing rate for the clinicals is around 20%. So from the people I know, they usually have minimum of 2 takes for the clinicals. And lastly, we have relatively fewer friends and the community here in the Philippines who are going into the AMC pathway. Honestly, that may be a big factor why we initially chose the UK right out of internship.
But then we had to rethink whether we still want to push through with UK. First, the booking in PLAB 1 is very competitive. We had to wait again for months before the opening for the seats of 2022. And then there is no guarantee that we would be able to book a seat because there are many doctors waiting for it to open. Second, our OET exam or English exam is only valid for 2 years. And at that time, it was already 1 year. And there is a chance that we will need to repeat our English exam again if our PLAB is further delayed.
Because of those reasons, we really considered going into the AMC Pathway instead. So here are some advantages to it for us. First is that we can take the exam as early as possible here in the Philippines because there's actually a testing site in Makati which is really accessible for us. They offer 5 days per month of exam dates for the whole year except for December and January. And the booking is actually not competitive at all, unlike in the UK, because there are less people trying to book exams. And you can actually book for the next month as long as it's before the closing date. So that would mean that you don't need to travel to the UK because for the UK, there is no testing site here for PLAB 1 in the Philippines. So there is less hassle to book an accommodation, to book flights, and at that time, there was actually a 14-day mandatory quarantine.
You can easily rebook and reschedule your AMC exam after payment for up to 1 year. Unlike in the UK wherein you have to cancel first and get refunded. Another advantage is that you don't need a past English exam before taking the AMC MCQ. You will only need this if you are already applying for a job.
And for us, we were lucky because the OET that we took from January of 2021 was still valid from when we took the exam and applied for jobs and also applied for visa.
As long as you have finished medicine in a recognized medical school, have your credentials verified under EPIC, and have made an account in the AMC, then you can already book for an AMC MCQ exam.
We also wanted to take the exam as early as possible while our memory from when we studied for a licensure exam was still fresh. So we decided to just overcome our fears and push through with the AMC MCQ exam. Anyways, we haven't really actually studied for the PLAB 1 anyways. We were only casually studying, but we didn't even purchase any UK reviewers yet. We were more concerned actually for the opening of the Australia borders. So we canceled our exam at August of 2021, 3 months prior our supposed PLAB 1 exam date, and then we started asking around about how to prepare, and then we actually found out that there is a group for Filipino doctors going to Australia, which was really helpful in our journey.
The other advantages about going to Australia, apart from those that we have mentioned before, the biggest factor is that you can already land a job after passing the AMC MCQ exam. Unlike in the UK wherein you have to pass the PLAB 2 first before securing a job. Of course, there are other factors affecting how fast you can land a job, like for example, recency of practice or the years of experience. Second is that we have our personal reasons on choosing Australia over UK. For example, the weather in Australia is relatively sunnier compared in the UK where it is gloomy and rainy. And Australia is closer to the Philippines, therefore it would be easier to visit our family and friends.
We also love the beach, and we know that Australia has a lot of beautiful and accessible beaches, and we are very much interested in doing beach sports as well as outdoor activities, which we know we will be able to do if we choose Australia instead. So we are interested in going camping and hiking and all those outdoor activities. And apart from this, another advantage is that according to a lot of people, Australia offers a better work-life balance and compensation compared to the UK. And last but not the least is that Australia has one of the best healthcare systems in the world, which also goes the same for the UK.
Some of you may be wondering how easy it is to secure a job in Australia. We assure you that it is highly possible as long as you have that recency of practice and have more years of experience. Just be persistent, keep on applying, and continuously improve your resume. At first, it might be hard to secure that first job, but it gets easier once you get your foot into the workforce.
So one proof is us. We have 3 postgraduate years of continuous experience before we applied for jobs in Australia. So we worked full-time here in our home country. So once we received our past AMC MCQ results, we immediately applied to a lot of jobs all around Australia. So there's really no cost to applying, and you can apply as much as you want all around Australia. And as we have mentioned, we already have a valid OET when we applied from when we were supposed to be in the UK route.
A lot of you are asking whether you can move from the UK to Australia.
So you definitely can, however, we don't know much about the process.
But as far as we know, you will need to pass the PLAB 1 and 2 as well as have a 1 to 2 years of experience in a UK health setting, and then you can apply under the competent authority pathway.
We don't know anyone else who did this, so we're not sure about how the process works, but you can definitely check out other YouTube videos and you can check the AMC website for more information. If you want to learn more about how we apply for jobs in Australia and how we succeeded at our interview, you can check out our vlogs linked below.
So at this point, if you have already decided on taking the AMC route, make sure to check our YouTube playlist for IMGs to Australia. That's it everyone, thank you for watching!
If you like this video, kindly give it a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to know more about our journey as IMGs to Australia.
Thank you!
Bye.
Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need.